ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to our world today. I'm your lovely host, Nora Sakal. This is the podcast where we address issues that matters. We talk about all things living. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, I want to give you a warm welcome and I say thank you. Please go over to our YouTube channel at Out Media, OWT Media, and subscribe, like, share, hit the notification button for future notifications, alerts, and other videos containing great content. And if you are coming back, if you are returning, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say God bless you. I appreciate you. Yes. Thank you. So we have been working on the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And yesterday we talked on law number 13, which was the law of modeling. And the law of modeling pretty much is telling us that it is hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. In other words, it is important to have someone that has gone ahead of you that can show you the ins and the outs, to show you how to find a coach, to find a mentor, to find someone that can pretty much help you, guide you, and to have representation in areas that we know it is very important to have some sort of a representation. Because the truth is, when it comes to people, right? We like to see that we have someone that has done it in order for us to, because it helps us believe in ourselves a little bit more. And also it is important for us to, look after or look up to people who have gone ahead of us to make things easier, to facilitate the process for us as people, as individuals, or as an organization in general. So yeah, the law of modeling is telling us it is hard. It is hard when you do not have anyone to kind of guide you and lead you and just teach you through the process, the ins and outs, the ins and outs of whatever it is that you want to do. And with that being said, today we are talking on the law of expansion. Yes, the law of expansion. The law of expansion is talking about growth. It says that growth always increases your capacity. And that is true. We have to find the edges and move them out, right? So how can we increase our capacity? How can we increase our thinking? How can we increase our thinking capacity? How can we build that up? Number one, in order for you to increase your thinking capacity, you must learn to stop thinking more work and start thinking what works. Capacity is not always about more. It starts with better, right? We think that is the more we do that we get the results that we desire. But the truth of the matter is that it is not necessarily like that. It is not more work, but it's literally what works. Less is more, right? You get exactly what you need to do and you do it, you get it done and get out of the way. Rather than trying to be busy, like I always say, don't just be busy, right? Don't just be busy, be productive. So capacity is not always about more. It starts with better. You have to ask these questions about what works. Okay, the question is, what am I required to do? You don't just want to go in there and start doing everything and anything, but figure out, what are you required to do? When you know exactly what you are required to do, and then you ask, what gives me the greatest return? Productivity. Not business, productivity. What gives me the greatest return? Once you can figure out what gives you the greatest return, you want to figure out what gives me the greatest reward, right? So stop thinking more work and start thinking what works. Second, stop thinking, can I? And start thinking, how can I? Stop doubting yourself. The most common reason people do not overcome the odds is that they don't challenge themselves enough. You don't put yourself in the forefront enough. You don't challenge yourself enough. You don't push yourself enough, right? So that's a more reason why people do not overcome the odds, right? Ask the question, what would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? If you knew that no matter what you did, no matter what you tried to do, you could not fail, what would you do? How far would you go? How much would you push yourself? What shall you become? What will become of you? Just think about that. What would you do if you knew you would never fail? You could not fail. See, self-limiting statements, people think that self-limiting statements helps them in ways that it helps them to be productive. It does not. The truth of the matter is that self-limiting statement will give you the results of self-limiting statements. In other words, if you say, I don't think I'm good enough, the result you're going to get is a not good enough results. That's the truth, right? So you will get the results of a self-limiting statement. You will get that result of a self-limiting statement. So if you want to see a different kind of result, change the statements that you're putting. Stop limiting yourself, right? And then remember, most systems in nature are not constant, are not on a constant readjustment, to correct the direction towards the goal. They're not, you know. Body temperature is regulated always by correcting. In other words, when you're too hot, your body tries to cool it down. When you're too cold, it tries to heat it up. It brings a balance. So a flower grows by always responding to the sun. When it's sunny outside, you see it begins to bloom. That's why it says springtime. That's when the sun is coming, the water is coming, it's nourished, it begins to bloom. So don't confuse the need to correct with failure. No. Don't confuse those two, right? Another thing to help you with increasing your thinking capacity. Number 3, stop thinking one door and start thinking many doors. What other routes, what other opportunities, what other ways, what other availabilities are there? How else can I do this? How else can I go this way? How else can I become this? What are the routes? What are the options that I have? Where do I go? There are always options. There is more than one way to do something successfully. That's a fact. Just because one person did something one way does not mean that's the way you got to do it. You have to remember your personality, your attitude, your mindset, your growth, your maturity, your personal development matters when it comes to the type of results you're going to produce, right? So the odds of arriving anywhere increases with the creativity and the adaptability of your person, of your being. See, movement with intentionality creates possibilities, right? So you don't want to think that, okay, if I stay in one place and I do things one way, I'm going to have many options. No. Failures and setbacks can be great tools for learning. Teachable moments comes from failures, comes from setback, comes from you not operating at your best. You learn. That's when teachable moments come from. You learn from that and you use it and you apply the necessary changes that you need to apply to get the necessary results that you need to get. See, knowing the future is difficult. Nobody knows what the future is. Nobody. It's an uncertain aspect of life that we can never be certain about, but it is very, very predictable. So knowing the future is difficult, but controlling the future is impossible. But it could be predicted because you can plan how you want to go. You can predict what you want out of it. You just cannot control it or know exactly what's going to happen. So knowing today is more essential than knowing tomorrow. Controlling today is very possible. You are here. You are here. You are right here. You're right now. You are present. You are actively working with today's time. You are actively working in the now. You have the ability to go and change. Right now, if I choose and say, I want to pick up this phone, I pick up this phone. But tomorrow, I cannot determine if I will even make it to tomorrow to pick up this phone. But I can predict that, okay, you know what? Tomorrow, I will put this phone in this location, wake up and pick it up. So you have the ability to control today, to control right now. So success is a result of continued action filled with continual adjustments. So you take action today and then you make adjustments in the future. So whatever you have a plan, whatever plan you have for the future, you make that plan, you have that plan set out, you have the goals set out, and you work on those goals today. You're taking action today. And if you go to tomorrow and adjustments needs to take place, you make the necessary adjustments. Period. It's not complicated. Right? Number two, when it comes to increasing, expanding yourself, expanding, growing yourself and your capacity. Number two principle, you have to increase your capacity. One, for action. Remember, the first one we talked about was increasing your thinking capacity. Now you have to increase your action capacity. So you have to increase your capacity for action. How can you increase your capacity for action? It's a different thing. To think big and to act big is two different things. You see? That's why they say don't be a talker, be a doer. Talk the talk and walk the walk, because we can all bark if we're given the opportunity to bark. But can we run if we're given the opportunity to run? So don't just be a talker, be a doer of your words. Doer, take action, let action back up your words, right? So stop doing only the thing. Number one, stop doing only the things you have done and start doing the things that you could do and should do. Meaning, what have you been doing before? What have you done before? Stop doing that. Stop doing what you've done before and start doing what you need to do. What you did before is different from what you need to do now. And what you need to do now is different from what you should be doing. So what you need to do and what you should be doing, they need to complement each other. So you have to start doing that. Start doing the things that you should be doing. So will you continue to do what you've always done or try something new? What should you what we should do can and always will shift in importance. In other words, what we should do would always change based on what we are currently doing. See, expansion requires learning and leaving your comfort zone. Making mistakes is a sign you are actually doing something. You cannot, if you are afraid to go out there and do something and you choose to just sit and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit here because I don't want to fall. I don't want to fail. I don't want to make mistakes. Whatever else that you're telling yourself, you can't expand. You can't grow. You have to fail to learn. You learn from failing. Not that you have to fail to learn, but you learn from failing. Let me put it that way. Number two, on how to increase your capacity for action. Stop doing what is expected of you and start doing more than what is expected of you. So if you know that they need you to just go a mile, how about you do two miles? Give the extra mile. If you know you are supposed to go just a mile, go 2 miles. Go 4, go 5, go beyond, over deliver. See, we live in a culture that gives trophies for just showing up. But expanding means that we must do more than what is just expected of us. You must do more than just the bare minimum. Number 3, stop doing important things occasionally and start doing the important things daily. Consistency. Do what is important daily. When is the time to not do important things? See, remember, success is determined in your daily plans. What you do on a daily basis determines the type of success you're going to have. You don't build a car by waking up one day and just building a car. No. You have the vision of the car, and then you break it down the parts that are needed, and then you go in there and you go in there and then you start to build it up slowly and little by little. So daily, what you do daily matters a lot. Matters a lot when it comes to the path of success. You have to measure your capacity. Growing your capacity, you must learn to measure your capacity. So expand your capacity. When you expand your capacity, you expand your impact. You move from a local celebrity to a national celebrity, and then to a global or international celebrity. Or you move from local influence to national influence, and then global or international influence. You go beyond your family, you go beyond your neighborhood, you go beyond your village, you go beyond your city. Your impact is a direct function of your capacity. How much you impact people is determined by how much of yourself you've expanded. Your capacity. See, there's nothing in your past that determines your future. So your capacity must grow. Your capacity must grow. Mhm. Your capacity must grow. So ask yourself where your impact is right now. Where's your impact? And then you ask yourself, where would you like your impact to be? See, when you see what the difference between your impact right now and your impact where you want to be, you know, that difference is the limits of your capacity. Once you can figure that out, then that's the limits of your capacity. So we have to learn. We have to learn to apply the law of expansion in our lives. We must learn to apply that. Hmm. So, have you made the transition from I can't or can I to how can I? Have you made that transition? Are you in that place where you're no longer thinking just can I? Rather, you're thinking how can I? Mm. I want you to do some dreaming, and then you ask yourself these questions. If I knew I could not fail, just think big, dream big, go deeper, right? Go beyond what you're used to thinking. Look around you, look beyond you, look globally, look at the people that are causing impact, they're creating waves, they're making things happen. And it's okay to desire those things. It's okay to dream of those things. It's okay to want those things because it is possible to obtain those things as long as you do the necessary things that you need to do, the changes, the shifts, the growth. You do the transition from where you are to where you want to be. Then you will get there because the truth of the matter is that opportunity is given to every single person. Now, the only difference is some people identify it and then they grab it. They take a hold of it. They grab it and they run with it. They run with it so far and so fast. That's why you were able, you see that in the time of Corona, some people were able to triple, quadruple their wealth. Some people became billionaires. Some people became millionaires. Some people made six figures. Some people, they became innovative. They became inventive because they look at the fact that there is a crisis and they decided to take advantage of what they are going to take advantage of what is happening. Because the truth of the matter is that whether you take advantage of it or not, or you do, whether you take advantage of it or you do not take advantage of it, it does not stop the fact that what's going to happen is going to happen. So some people took look at it and capitalized on that and ran with it. So it is possible for you to dream big if you really do want to dream big. You just need to challenge yourself, break fear, go deeper, go beyond, and ask yourself, if I knew I could not fail, what will I attempt? What would I try to do? Who would I become? Who would I be? If I had no limitations, if there were no restrictions, I'm telling you, don't think about, okay, well, bets, I don't have money, or bets this and bets that. No. Don't think about it. If you had no limitations, if you had everything that you need to do what you wanted to do, to become who you need to become, if you had no limitations, not your weight, not your color, not your race, not your accent, not your background, not your economic status, not your social status, not your educational status, not, if you had no limitation, what would you like to do? That's the question you ought to be asking yourself. Because once you can figure that out, it becomes easier for you to pursue that. If money was not an issue, if money were not an issue, what will you be doing with your life? Where would you be going? What direction would you be taking? Who would you be rubbing shoulders with? What path would you be taking if money were not an issue? See, do this. See, these things might seem like it's impossible. But the truth of the matter is that that's where you have to be to start. Because if they seem like they are impossible, then you are ready to expand. The only way you can expand is when you see beyond where you are. If where you are presently and currently, you feel like it is very attainable and achievable, and then you are not expanding. Your expansion, your desire to expand should be bigger than your ability to comprehend, than your ability to even achieve or attain. So if it seems like it's impossible, you're not ready. But if you look at it and you say, you know what, as much as this thing is big, this thing is frightful, as much as this thing looks like, I cannot achieve it, but I know I can and I will, you're ready. Because it's until you challenge yourself, before you can ready. Because at that moment you're ready, you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to take the risk, you're willing to test yourself, you're willing to push yourself to go beyond your comfort zone. You're willing, you're ready to grow. So give yourself an effectiveness audit so that you can be sure you are thinking what works instead of more works. Person's A's route to success might not necessarily be your route. That's why we require coaches and mentors and counselors or whatever else, gurus, whatever else you call them, because they teach you. They take your 10 years and cut it in half. It's going to take you 10 years to do, they cut it in half. You can do it in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, because they've been through it. They've gone ahead of you. And so you can truly start living your dream. You can truly become. Truly become. Think about your own behavioral patterns. What is working? And what do you need to adjust? Remember, to make adjustments, you have to figure out what is required. What is required? What do you need as the end result? And what do you want to achieve? So the required, the return, and the result and the reward. So it can help you make the necessary adjustments that you need to make. The necessary adjustments. Know there are always options. Figure out what works for you. Figure out your personality. Figure out the ways you ought to go. And break out of your pattern. I see a question from Miss Justine. It says that how can one grow when you are mentally, educationally, but not financially viable? The truth of the matter is that we have options that you can learn from and you can grow from mentally without necessarily having to spend money. If you are in a neighborhood where you have people, you have people that have gone ahead of you and you are looking up to them, and you want to learn from them, you want to be like, know how or what they're doing. You can walk up to people and you can talk to them. You can negotiate deals. You can talk to people and say, hey, okay, this, I want to know what you are doing to get to where you are. And when you sit there and you talk to these people, it's, I just want you to teach me. And you say, you know what, I don't have money right now, but we can sign a contract. I don't have money right now, but we can do this. You can push yourself, you can observe, you can go on the internet. You can go on the internet to research, to look up things and how to go about it. What we are saying is that finances is not the very beginning of any growth process. You have to first of all build you. Once you build you, you are able to come up with a plan, a strategy, how to get the money. You get the information, you got the knowledge, you transform your mindset. And then you're able to come up with a strategy on how to build the financial aspect of things. For you to even go get a job, you decide you require a skill. You need to know. You need to have a skill. You need to know something. They're not going to hire you for nothing. Or even if they hire you for nothing, they hire you and train you to do something. There must be a skill. So before you even think of money, you must think of mental transformation. You must think of mental transformation and educating yourself. So finances, yes, finances is important, it's necessary, but it's not your priority. It's not the first step when it comes to growth and transformation. When it comes to growth and transformation, finances comes last, because you have to figure out first what you need to do, and then before you figure out how much you need to take you there. So what you need to do, what you need to do is change your mind. You have to be informed about what you want to get involved in, right? So from there, you can now proceed and you can grow and you can become. Then you build on from there. Hopefully, I answer your question, Miss Justin. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lady. Coach Lady. Thank you so very much. If you have any questions, please send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at PMR World Today, or you can send us an email at our world today CLF at gmail.com. Again, our world today CLF at gmail.com. That's it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. I will talk to you tomorrow, same place, same time. And remember, be productive, not just be busy. Be productive. I'm your girl, Nora Sakal. Stay tuned for future broadcasts. I'll see you Saturday, same time. Chris, shalom. God bless. Bye-bye.